morning, everyone. Welcome to Primetime Morning. I'm Suzanne Zhang.
And I'm Richard Louie. It's Wednesday, October 1st. It's the first day of the month. Another month has gone by pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah. Well, time flies. Well, let's kick off the segment with the main headlines this morning.
Plus, Wednesday means it's time for Tech Talk. Today we go all pixelated with the fast-growing culture of digital imaging. It's changing the way we take pictures, store, and share them. It's time for our regular Tech Talk segment, and we're focusing on the all-encompassing world of digital imaging.
That's right. If you recall, last week we talked about digital cameras, one of the fastest growing segments of consumer electronics. Well, now that you pretty much have an idea which one to get come this holiday season, you've got to learn how to make use of them. And I can tell you, it can be really fun and entertaining.
You're definitely right, Suzanne. Digital photography has revolutionized how professional photographers, journalists, and even just ordinary people like you and me to capture and document the world around us. You'll be amazed at what you can do now.
And so whether it is digital cameras, camcorders, or PC cameras, digital imaging is set to be a marketplace phenomenon of the future. And to tell us more on that today is Miguel Bernas. Good morning.
Good morning, Suzanne. Richard.
Okay, let's start out with the first question. Experts are almost certain this is the big thing. So what is the optimism behind digital imaging?
I think there's a lot of things behind it. For one thing, I think it was very largely unexpected. You had a lot of hype before new technologies like 3G and WAP and all of that. So in many ways, the growth of the digital imaging industry is a bit of an unhyped phenomenon in that sense. It took a lot of people by surprise. And in my own company, certainly one of the most visible things that we've seen is that digital cameras is one of the biggest and fastest growing advertising sector for our clients right now.
Well, you mentioned WAP and 3G, and you know, some people jokingly say 3G, which is actually third generation. They call it 3-year glitch. Well, the thing is, the hype came, they stayed, but they didn't manage to sustain. But this one, people are so genuinely excited about it.
Yeah, just from my own observation, I myself was a bit surprised. In the beginning, when they started introducing phones with cameras built in, I was like, oh, I don't quite get the appeal of that. But actually it surprised everybody because you know, it's now becoming standard. You know, you can't issue a new phone without some kind of, you know, digital imaging application attached to it.
That really makes a comment about the culture and where we're at today. We like to take pictures no matter where we're at, no matter what we're doing, and so I think that it makes a lot of sense. On that note, though, I notice as of late, at least for normal people like you and me, when we do casual pictures, we often interface it with the web, whether it's Ophoto or MSN or Yahoo. Often that's the way we distribute the experiences we've had. Is that the new trend? Is that where we're going to go in a big way for personal photography?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, for Yahoo, we did a survey recently with our own users and discovered that 55% of our users already own a camera. And more interestingly, it's another 30% intend to buy a camera in the next 12 months, a digital camera in the next 12 months. So that really tells you a lot about how rapidly this trend has grown. We're currently running a fun contest here in Singapore, on Yahoo Singapore, asking for people to submit their party photos, which we're doing together with Canon. And in a week, we've already received something like 500 photographs uploaded onto this contest. So really, really fast.
I think the draw to this is also the fact that it's instant. I mean, you click it, you just download it onto your PC, and you can even touch it up yourself the way you want it to look. And
yeah,
that
I think the interesting thing and why this has grown so quickly is because it's effectively cut out the middleman. If you remember the old, you know, if you can still remember the old way of doing photography, you took a photograph, you took the film down, took a couple of days, and you got it back, and then you chose, and if you wanted to duplicate copies, you had to take the film back again, wait another couple of days, and pay for all the prints. Today, you go straight from your camera to your PC, you post all the pictures online, and you tell all your friends, here's my photos, have a look at it. It doesn't cost anybody anything.
That's what we call file sharing, right?
Well, it's
similar.
It's more like putting an album online.
onto the web.
Yeah.
But I do find that to be a problem only in that photo with all of those different places that you can upload your photos to. It's not quite enough memory given the number of photos you often take.
Well, I mean, you can pay for a little bit extra, extra storage space.
But moving away from, I guess, personal photography and looking at what professionals now have at their disposal, when you take a look at digital photography and what they can do now, how does that help the single proprietor, the guy that owns his own business and is a photographer?
Well, it takes away a lot of the barriers to entry. In the old days, if you were going to be a photographer, not only did you have to own all the photographic equipment, but you had to have access to real estate, meaning a studio. You had to have a studio, you had to have a dark room, etc., to be able to develop your photos. Today, with a digital camera, you're able to just go straight from photos to, you know, touching up and getting the pictures to your clients in almost no time at all.
And speaking of touching up, I think that's one of the factors that many people are drawn into this digital imaging, because there's a lot of software out there. And yesterday I was just at the launching of a new Adobe system software. These software just help you, I mean, it just makes the whole thing more fun, creative, and entertaining.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things, there's a lot of things that align, that just happen to align very, very well. Digital imaging technology in terms of chips and stuff like that in the cameras themselves improved very rapidly. At the same time, you had computers and software becoming much more sophisticated, to the point where, you know, it's very easy. Anybody, no longer just professionals, can go and play around with photographs, cut and paste, compile, composite pictures together, and have a little fun. So
there's a lot of middlemen or middle people getting cut out because of this. And there's a lot of big businesses that are trying to get into this space so they can control your photography end to end. So they'll provide the printer, the software, the camera for you. Who are the big players? Where do you see that going?
Well, I mean, a lot of the big players who used to be in the I guess, analog imaging, people like Kodak have had to embrace digital imaging in a big way. Interestingly, a lot of people who are getting into it now are people that, you know, just a few years ago you never would have imagined. People like who do PDAs, people who do mobile phones. You know, these are now new entrants into the digital imaging space because they know that it's the big trend and they have to be there.
Right. Okay, that sounds cool. I mean, well, I'm not a really big fan of this digital gadget stuff, but yeah, what you just said, I mean, that was cool.
There's a lot to be done. There's a lot changing. I think we can probably talk to you in another week. You have some new news for us, right?
Well, one thing is for sure, though, this is the way of the future, and it's the next phenomenon that will be overtaking everything.
Yeah, and I think it's very visible here in Singapore, probably more than other markets.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thanks, Miguel.
This morning. I'll see you again next time for another look at technology. Well, Richard is back with Primetime Morning Asia today, so do stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, I'll see you in about an hour's time for your first edition of World Today here on ChannelNewsAsia.